I found out the business wasn't mine when my sister walked into the shop carrying a new set of keys I'd never seen before. They were heavy, polished. She set them on the counter like they belonged there. No one looked at me. From the outside, everything looked steady. We were a family business people admired. Small, local, reliable. My parents liked to say we'd built it together, that it was a legacy. Customers would smile and tell me how lucky I was to have something waiting for me. I worked there 6 days a week, sometimes 7. I opened in the mornings and locked up at night. My hands always smelled like oil and dust no matter how much I washed them. I didn't mind. There was comfort in routine, in knowing where to stand, what to fix, what needed tightening. At dinner, my parents talked numbers with my sister. Expansion, branding, vision. She nodded, scrolling on her phone. I passed the salt. I refilled water glasses. No one said I was excluded. It just happened quietly. When I was younger, I learned early where I fit. My sister was the planner, the thinker, the one who talked easily. Teachers praised her essays. My parents framed her certificates. I fixed things, broken hinges, old equipment. I stayed late to help my dad when something jammed or overheated. He'd clap my shoulder and say, "Good work," like I was an extension of a tool he trusted. When I talked about ideas, my mother would smile politely. "Let your sister handle that," she'd say. "You're better with your hands." I believed her. By the time I graduated, I thought things would finally balance out. I had a degree now. Long nights. Student debt. Proof. I came home that afternoon still wearing my graduation shirt. The collar wrinkled from the ceremony. The shop smelled the same. Warm metal. Coffee gone stale. That's when I saw the keys. My sister was laughing with my mother. My father stood nearby, quiet, hands folded behind his back. "Oh," my mom said when she noticed me. "We didn't tell you yet." She picked up the keys and pressed them into my sister's palm. "She'll be taking over officially." I waited for the rest of the sentence. It didn't come. Later, when I asked what that meant for me, my mother didn't look uncomfortable. "You're just good with your hands," she said gently, like she was explaining something simple. "Not your brain." The words landed cleanly. No drama, no heat. My father stared at the floor. I nodded. I didn't argue. I went back to work the next morning like nothing had changed. I kept my hours the same. 60 a week. Unpaid overtime. I told myself it didn't matter. That loyalty was noticed even if it wasn't named. But things shifted. My sister started making decisions without asking. She'd rearrange schedules. Cancel suppliers I trusted. Bring in consultants who looked at me like I was furniture. At meetings, I stood near the wall. When I spoke, the room kept moving. Once, a client asked me a technical question. My sister interrupted before I could answer. "He handles the physical stuff," she said. "I'll explain the strategy." The client nodded. I tightened a bolt that didn't need tightening. There were moments I thought might change things. When I solved a problem no one else could. When I saved a contract by staying overnight and rebuilding a component from scratch. When a customer asked specifically for me. Each time I waited for acknowledgement. It never came. Hope kept showing up quietly, then leaving. The turning point came on a Tuesday. Nothing special about it. The radio played softly in the background. The shop was half empty. My father asked me to stay late again. Just for a bit. I looked at my hands. The cuts. The stains that never quite faded. "No," I said, surprised both of us. I finished my shift. I didn't come in the next day, or the day after that. I didn't announce anything. I just stopped. A week later, my phone rang. It was my father. "We have a problem," he said. His voice was tight. "Our biggest client. They're threatening to walk." I listened. I could hear papers shuffling. My sister's voice faint in the background. "They want you," he added. "They trust you." I leaned against my kitchen counter. The apartment was quiet. Sunlight hit the sink just right. "I'm not part of the business," I said. There was a pause. "We can talk," he offered. "I know," I said. "But I won't." They lost the client. I heard about it later from someone else. The business shrank. Not dramatically, just enough. I found work somewhere else. Smaller place, less history, more respect. My hands were still useful. So was my brain. Months passed. At a family gathering, my sister tried to make small talk. My mother watched me carefully, like I might say something sharp. I didn't. I poured myself a drink. I stood near the window. I left early. No confrontation came. None was needed. Now, when I think about the shop, it feels distant. Like a place I worked, not a life I lost. My hands still carry the memory, but they don't ache the same way. I don't wait for recognition anymore. I don't explain my worth. And when I lock up at the end of the day, the keys I use belong to me.